Everyone, back with another IPL team preview video. This is the 7th one out of the 10 teams. It's going to be focusing on Delhi Capitals, DC. The other three teams are going to be coming on Sunday morning. They don't play the early game on Saturday, so it's not so much of a concern to get them out early. So I wanted to try and get this preview done. Then I'm going to do some other stuff regarding post-match analysis today in the opening match of the tournament. So over to DC. This is more to do. This team here is more what I would do rather than what I think they will do. So this way, if you have KL Rahul opening, and then you have that he's in his kind of more settled spot, and then that way you can have Abhishek Patel at 3, and then you can use Donovan Ferreira as a finisher rather than using Jake Fraser-McGurk, who I think is going to be quite a hit or miss type player, both in this IPL, and we've seen this also from him over a fairly decent period of time as well, that he's going to score a lot quickly or not a lot at all, and he's coming off the back of a tough Big Bash. I do worry a bit for him in terms of second season syndrome in the IPL as well. Teams are going to be a lot more prepared to look to exploit his weaknesses and negate his strengths. So I went for a slightly different combo in terms of their overseas that I think that they're compared to what I think they're going to take. But I think this is a much better balanced team, and a team that has more players in roles where they can exhibit their super strengths rather than sort of being in a sort of mishmash of roles where they could get exposed because of a abundance of early wickets. Now, the reason why I've gone like this as well is because then you've got Abhishek Patel as a left-hander and Akshar Patel as a left-hander, both in the top 5, so you can be a lot more flexible with right-left combos. Akshar actually becomes a better version of a pinch blocker basically here at 5, which allows Donovan Ferreira and Ashutosh Sharma to have a later entry point, and also Samir Rizvi, if he comes in as an impact sub, would also have a later entry point, which I think all suits them hugely. They're all very, very strong as like a death hitter. So look, that's why I went this way. I'm not sure they're going to go this way, but this is my take on things. And if I was working with DC, this is the kind of structure and lineup that I would be advocating. Now, going through to their bowling, they've got arguably the two of the strongest spinners in the comp, Kuldeep Yadav and Akshar Patel, world-class spinners, and would have between them 8 overs locked up, I would have thought. And then they might have a little bit of spin on the bench potentially with Vijay Tripurana as well, who's had a breakthrough in domestic cricket. Pace-wise, I'm not quite sure that they've got enough if they go with Stark, Mukesh and Natarajan. Big problem here, I think, for this team is that they don't have a lot of bowling options in the top 7, so they're kind of going to have to go with these 5 plus an impact sub. And I don't really have a great deal of confidence in several of them unless they play in their preferred roles, and also they have a lot of positive variance on their side, because they're quite high variance bowlers generally, especially Mitchell Stark, and I think you probably say the same for Mohit Sharma, who might be used as a kind of in that impact sub role as well. But going back to the batting data, slow starting from KL Rahul. Rest of the batters are fine in terms of strike rate. Akshar's a little bit lower, but as I said, he's a better version of a pinch blocker, which I think is fine. Very stable opening partnership with high balls per dismissal. Then it gets a little bit more streaky after that. Mixed bag in terms of boundary percentage. KL Rahul is a much better player than having 15% boundaries, and that's unfortunately a mindset thing from him. I think that everyone's general consensus is that he's a lot better player than that boundary percentage and 6% here. The rest of them, it's fine, it's okay. surprised to see Stubbs having a lower boundary percentage than I would have thought. I would have thought it would have been around 20, 21. But no, down at 17. And actually a very good non-boundary run producer. And this is a team with generally decent non-boundary run production. So I'd expect them to run between the wickets pretty well, even with several older players in the team as well, like Kyle Rahul and Faf du Plessis. Against pace, we're looking at 130 plus for all players. Kyle Rahul, again, I think is a better player than these numbers suggest. Faf's very strong against pace. Abhishek Patel is very strong against pace. And at the death hitting, Ashutosh Sharma is very strong against pace as well. Against spin, there's not really a lot that leaps off the page. Again, Kyle Rahul will probably be better trading off that stability to up. I'd rather trade off 20 balls per dismissal in this situation to up your strike rate by 15. I'd much rather have like a 145 40 rather than a 128 59. I don't think that level of stability is necessary. Faf's improved his game against spin in the last couple of years against the ball turning away from him as a right-hander. Credit to him at his age that he's been able to do that. Obviously shows a great deal of drive that he wants to just continue to get better and better. And then Donovan Ferrer can hit spin as a sort of like a 14th, 15th over entry point kind of player as well. And Sammy Rizvi can also play spin reasonably well too. So, phase-wise, this is where I think that this is really interesting discussion for DC, because they've got three players, Kyle Rahul, Faf du Plessis, Abhishek Patel, who are very, very, very comfortable with batting in the power play. But then you don't have anybody else. So early wickets could seriously derail the DC train here and force players to come into play at entry points that they're not particularly comfortable in playing. So Rahul and Faf are going to need to impress and get them through the power play. Anything more than sort of anything more the 2+ wickets down after 4 overs is a real bad start for this DC batting group in particular. It's not a good start for anybody, but this DC group in particular, I think it's especially so. Moving through to the middle overs, it's okay. It's nothing special. I expect this to be kind of mid-range. And then where this team comes alive with the bat, I think, is at the death. Tristan Stubbs, Donovan Ferrer, Ashutosh Sharma, Sammy Rizvi, all capable of taking the game away from opposition at the death. And that's where I think a lot of the runs in this DC's team are going to come from. Moving through to the bowling, you can see here again, Kuldeep Yadav, Akshar Patel, very low boundary percentage conceded, and decent dot ball percentages earned as for a spinner. Those numbers, anything 40 plus for a spinner is completely world class. But what we do see is this high dot percentage, high boundary percentage conceded by Mitchell Starc, and to a lesser extent Mukesh Kumar. Now that's a red flag for me because it shows an aggressive. They're bowling aggressive lines and lengths a lot of the time, showing me that that's a high variance partnership there potentially. T. Natarajan will probably bowl up top and at the back end, where he's more of a death over specialist, which is they really need in this squad because of Mitchell Starc's numbers and Mukesh Kumar's numbers at the death are not particularly special. So they might even use Mohit Sharma a little bit at the death as well, and maybe in the middle overs. So the spin looks locked. A lot of questions still, I think, over their paces, and you can see how that's represented in terms of that potential bowling distribution for them. So power play is okay, but I think that this team only has maybe 12-ish overs locked. I think Natarajan with good entry points, Kuldeep Yadav, Akshar Patel 12 overs locked. Starc, I still think, has a lot to prove at the IPL. I know he had a mixed bag of a season last year for KKR. Let's see how he gets on with DC. So why did I choose this preferred combo? Well, I kind of alluded to a little bit already. I think that Ferreira for Fraser McGurk then increases, gives them more of a safety net in terms of if Fraser McGurk was playing, he would play that hyper-aggressive style that increases their chances of other batters having to bat earlier than their preferred entry points. If you have him at opening and you've got no one else really who likes batting in the power play or is effective in the power play or early middle overs, that's a big problem if he gets out early. So that's that's something to definitely to consider. Talking points. Well, we've got Hemang Badani coming in as coach, replacing Ricky Ponting, has moved to PBKs. Now, he's just come back. Badani's come off the back of an ILT20 win recently, so his confidence as a coach will be high. His commodity as a coach is going to be high now. So let's see what happens with him as his first season at DC as head coach. They've obviously lost Harry Brook. At the time of recording, I don't think they've announced a replacement player yet. I've already given my views in another video on who they should take, but whether they do or not is another debate entirely. So that's still up for debate who they're bringing in for Harry Brook. Player in focus for me is Mitchell Stark, because I think he'll need to wind back the years and lead the attack superbly to give DC a decent chance of qualifying. If he has that, if up and down season like he did for KKR, it might not be enough to carry the rest of this pace bowling group through. So let's see how Mitchell Stark gets on. I think that DC will be hoping for a stellar season from him. Strengths for this group: I've got decent stability from an open partnership, solid non-boundary run production, great death hitting, and a world-class spin attack. That could be enough to get them in the top four, but I think that their pace bowling is going to be the issue for them here. The weaknesses: I've got the squad structure. Losing early wickets could see their batters having suboptimal entry points. We don't want to see like the likes of Stubbs or Akshar or Donovan Ferreira having to bat in the power play. So early wickets would increase that chance. We don't want that to happen. That DC, there'll be a disaster for DC. They've got a lack of bowling options in the top seven. That's a squad structure issue, and something that probably should have been considered a little bit more deeply at the auction. And they've got aging openers. Now, that's not necessarily an issue this year, but in years 2 and particularly year 3 of this auction cycle, I think it could be a bigger concern for them as time moves on. So they're going to have to be proactive rather than reactive to deal with that potential issue. They've got a high volatility pace attack. They're wicket-taking options, but they are expensive. So one day this bowling attack could roll teams. Next day they could get smashed. So a very, very high volatility bowling attack doesn't really align with what I think a qualifying team should have as a bowling group. And their death bowling, I think, is a potential weakness as well. A lot's gonna have to be on T Natarajan to bowl well at the death if they're gonna restrict teams in that phase. So overall, look, it's quite a high volatility team. I think they're going to fall a little bit short in the end ultimately, though. Probably about 6th or 7th seems about reasonable for this team. But if Stark plays well and a spinners wreak havoc, Natarajan has a good year and stays fully fit, maybe they might sneak into 4th. Let's see. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Give me your comments, please. It'd be great to hear from you. Comments, questions in the comments section below or on Twitter at SA Advantage. Don't forget, like and share this video, please. Subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your friends' family, tell all of your friends who support DC to come and watch this video and give me your thoughts as well. It'd be great to hear from you. Until tomorrow, where we do the last 3 teams, I'll bid you good day.